Greetings, everyone! It is I, F.W. Waller, and yes, you're not imagining this, I am back. I realize it has been a very long time since I've done a video of any kind, but I decided to come back in full swing with a review of the TV show Arrow, which is based on a character that I love very much. However, reviewing an entire season of 40 plus minute episodes is way too much of a Herculean feat for me to take on my own, so I enlisted some help. I have with me Pop Culture Diva 42.
Hi everybody. I also have not done a video in a very long time.
Yeah, real life tends to interfere that way. And I also have with me Senior Nerd.
Hello everybody. I've been doing a lot of video lately because I have too much free time on my hands.
Show off.
Because I love my subscribers, unlike YouTube.
We have failed this city.
Yeah, exactly. We have failed. We have failed this city. Alright. Okay, so basically to start talking about this, yeah, the TV show Arrow, it's a CW show. It's, I guess, supposed to be like the biggest, most ambitious show they've attempted since Smallville. There's a bit of controversy surrounding the way that it's done certain things, but I think I'm gonna just start with a general overview. What is everyone's opinion of it?
Oh, should I start?
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Well, season 1. This is season 1, right?
Yeah, we're just talking about season 1.
Okay. Well, first of all, going in, I was like, this could be okay. I mean, when they first announced that Green Arrow was going to get its own series on the CW, however, it's not going to be a spin-off for Smallville. It will be the same actor who played Oliver Queen in Smallville.
Justin Hartley. Just
right. Yeah, that guy. But it won't have any superheroes, although that was they said the first season, and they will just call it Arrow, not Green Arrow. The title still, I'm not keen to the title. And I was like, I'll give this a shot. I mean, if it's good, I'll enjoy it. If it's turned out to be crap, I'll just stop watching it. And I would have to say, it turns out to become one of my new favorite shows on TV right now. I can't believe I say that because I do respect the comic book character Green Arrow Oliver Queen, but I'm not much of a reader of him. I just read his a few appearances on Justice League, or like an appearance he made in the Green Lantern comics with Hal Jordan. So I was like, I'm not much of a fan of Oliver Queen, and I turned out I've become a fan of Green Arrow. Now I want to read more about the character in the comics, and I'm glad that this show brought us interest in Green Arrow, and it started really slow.
Yeah.
I'd say that.
Yeah, the first few episodes were kind of piss poor, in my opinion.
Yeah. But when it went to the second half, when it got really good up until the final episode, which is still considered one of my favorite episodes. So it was, I would say, compare the first half of the first Arrow season 1 compared to like the first half of season 2, which is by far superior. But yeah, I was just going out. I was like, I couldn't believe that afterwards. Like, I love this show.
Okay. All right. I'm going to offer my opinion next. Honestly, I like this show. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it has potential. Right now, it's just a pretty good show, but I think it has the potential to be an unbelievably fantastic show. I think, you know, the cards are there, like the stakes are there for them to play at. You know, the opportunities, they are presenting themselves, and from the first episode I've seen of season 2, it's living up to that. it's living up to that potential, because I love the first episode of season 2. I really love the directions they're going in. Uh, as a hardcore Green Arrow fan, I think this show is not all that good. I mean, the whole idea is that they're sticking with the Mike Grell interpretation, who's all gruff and kills people and doesn't wear a domino mask and all that. He wears a hood, which was interesting, but the only reason that they did that in the comics was because Ollie was old and not quite as skilled. So it wasn't. It was kind of weird that they started him out like that, but I like the directions that they are going in. I also really like how it's a lot more plot driven than your standard CW show, and all of the romantic, tween drama is not nearly as intrusive as it is for Smallville. I mean, there is that there, but it's not. They don't hit you in the face with it nearly as much. It's manageable. That's all I have to say.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Would I be wrong in saying that out of the three of us, I'm the biggest Smallville fan?
Well, I enjoy Smallville.
Not really.
Up to some point, so I guess.
Really.
Yeah, I guess if you're like the big fan of the show.
I have a lot of respect and a lot of goodwill towards Smallville, and the idea that we did have a show about Superman for 10 seasons on television, despite whatever faults you might have or you might find in Smallville. The truth is that we had a superhero show for 10 years.
Yeah, that is impressive. I won't deny that.
And also, I'm not as a big of a hardcore fan of Green Arrow as Ian is, but I do really like Green Arrow, and it's one of the DC heroes that I think easily in my top 5 DC heroes. I haven't read that much on him, but I did read his Soul series, starting with Quiver and the Arrow stuff, and I really like the Arrow family. I like Roy and Black Canary, and even Mia, when Mia was Speedy at some point. So
why must you mention Quiver? Why?
I know, because I, for one, loved Quiver.
Hey, I thought Quiver was a good story.
I fucking hated it. I hated it.
I know.
Was it Kevin Smith wrote that?
Yeah.
Yep.
I loved it. I'm sorry. I think Quiver is right there with Batman's Hush, but that's just me. Point is that I did have some experience with Green Arrow, even when Green Arrow showed up on Smallville. And when I first heard about Arrow, I was hopeful about it, but the more I learned about the changes that they're making, that now Oliver Queen is going to have an actual family, like his parents haven't both died, and he like the origin story in Smallville, and he's also going to have a sister, and it's not Star City, it's Starling City. And then when I first saw the first episode, my overall impression of it, well, this is the Batman show without Batman. Like, it's way too heavily influenced by Christopher Nolan's Batman movies, and
yeah, see, I'm not actually seeing that. I gotta say, this sounds weird for me, but I actually don't. I do see some Nolan influence, but I don't see it nearly as much as others do.
Well, like I said, just going on the first episode, because going on the first episode, I could not help myself but compare what I had of Stephen Amell's Green Arrow to Justin Hartley's Green Arrow. And Justin Hartley's Green Arrow, he was a philandering playboy guy. He had a bit more moxie. He was funnier. He was more at ease with himself. And that was more the Green Arrow that I knew from the comics. Like, he was a funner character all around. Whereas Stephen Amell's Green Arrow was very, very broody, very serious in everything.
Yeah, at first... I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And that, I was just going to say that was just the pilot episode. as the show progressed and as the first season progressed, a couple of things happened. One, I started to take Stephen Amell's Arrow serious in the sense that he was good at what he was doing. Like, he took shit seriously, he got shit done. Didn't really have a problem with him killing people because I felt that his motivation was strong enough and his moral code was ambiguous enough.
And he lightened up a bit.
And what?
And he lightened up a bit.
He lightened up a bit. He lightened up to the point where he needed to interact with other people. And other people obviously had their influence on him.
Yeah, see, I hated Stephen Amell's portrayal at first because I thought that he just, like, mood swinged back and forth from being, playful and flippant to being all broody and psychotic. But then I stopped to consider, this is a guy who just suffered 5 traumatizing years, who just came back from an island. There's no telling how he would act.
Yeah, like, knowing that, it's a remarkable how together he actually is. And I respected what he was trying to do, and I thought the idea of going by a list that was left to him by his father gave him a direction and gave him a purpose that otherwise would have been just chaotic rage against evil or whatever. I thought that was very well handled, and I also was surprised to find that I actually kind of like his family. I thought I wouldn't, but his mom is a very complex character. His sister at the beginning was very annoying.
Oh, yes.
Like when she was hitting on Tommy, who turned out to be her brother.
Wait, what?
God.
Oh shit!
No, wait. My most hated moment with her was in the episode where I can't quite remember which one. I think it's the one where they figure out that Detective Lance figures out that Ollie is the Archer, or the Hood, as he likes to call it. I'm expecting some gangster rap references here, but yeah. Anyways, whenever she overhears her talking with Malcolm Merlyn, I was just thinking, ooh, this is getting interesting. Thea's becoming, aware of the whole conspiracy, and in the very next scene, she says, I think Mom is having sex with Malcolm Merlyn. I'm just thinking, are you fucking serious?
What else is she supposed to think?
Well,
I thought it was pretty in character.
No, because you could clearly hear what both characters were saying when she was eavesdropping on them.
Well, you could as part of the audience.
Yeah, but it was made... But, like, okay, when you were outside, from her perspective, you could hear clearly what she was saying. I mean, what she was hearing, excuse me. So I thought that was entirely... I thought that was totally contrived.
I forgot the conversation between her and Malcolm. But guess something where she hinted that they had some kind of, like, attraction to each other. I guess that's why she made that conclusion.
Well, everybody likes Captain Jack.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, it's actually kind of appropriate that you started, Deanna, that you actually started talking about the characters, because that's the next point here.
Mm-hmm.
So, crap. Well, you just listed all the characters, so.
No. There's
still a lot.
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
I was just saying, like, those were the biggest things that kept me watching the first season. Like, then made me turn away from the show completely. The fact that this vigilante got shit done and was very serious about it, and he was very heroic. And the second thing was that I actually liked his family, and his family took up a lot of screen time. So those were the things that kept me watching till the end.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed, I think out of all the family members, I enjoyed Thea probably the most, because I really liked how she pushed to, make Ollie, be open and honest and forthcoming with all of his family members. I see that's all you can really expect out of a supporting cast, is that they elicit different parts of the main character. They elicit different emotions, different sides of the character's personality. That's all you could ever want from a cast of supporting characters.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Well, unless they're doing a very poor job of that, like Laurel, for instance.
yeah. Oh God, I, for the most part, yeah, Laurel. Let's talk about her, cause
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, the gloves are off.
yeah, she is a horrible actress. Whoever plays her, she does a terrible job.
Katie Cassidy, I think her name is.
Yeah,
She's David Cassidy's daughter.
David
David Cassidy
Who's
for
David
the Partridge Family.
From who?
David
Two
Cassidy.
Americans in your Partridge Family.
I have no idea what that is.
You never watched the Partridge Family?
Nope.
Come on, get happy. Come on, get
What is that? A sitcom?
Yeah, from like the 60s, 70s.
Yeah. See, that's why I've never heard of it. I do not watch sitcoms.
Okay. It's a classic, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I think her performance is consistently bad throughout the entire series. Like even in the moments where she looks like she's about to cry, I'm just thinking, oh my God, she's actually going to show some goddamn emotion. Like she's actually going to change her facial expression, but no, she doesn't. I mean, you just see tears on her eyes, but you never actually see her cry. Like, like in all those. Okay, in the whole subplot where Laurel's mom comes and she presents the picture where they think they see her dead sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's supposed to be really emotional and really heart-wrenching, but she did not sell it. She did not sell it at all. Because she showed no emotional inflection in her face or in her voice. It was traumatizing to me just how bad her acting was. I mean, her character, her character just kind of flip-flopped from being virtuous and likable to, kind of unlikable because she instigated a whole bunch of, unnecessary drama and crap.
Mm-hmm. Between Tommy and Oliver.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So really, I'm really kind of split down the middle concerning Laurel.
I'm not split down the middle. I think she is the worst thing about this show. Laurel is the worst. Starting with, look, I don't hate the actress because I actually think she can be a pretty good actress because I liked her in Supernatural. But there's something about the way that Laurel carries herself, or about the way that Katie Cassidy carries herself in this role, that is, to me, 100% fake. When I see her, I don't see a person.
I know.
Like, I don't know, it's like she's like a mannequin or something, and she's, like you said, you see her going from virtuous, likable to, I don't see her going from anything to anything. It's like, there's something about her that is so fake.
Well, I mean,
not improve in the second season.
Those sides of her character sort of come through when she actually collaborates with Green Arrow. I'm just going to call him Green Arrow because I don't feel like referring to him as the Hood or the Vigilante. Like, you see that she's very tenacious when it comes to her, to her lawyer work,
Mm-hmm.
but everything else about her is just bad.
Mm-hmm. It's sad because this is a pretty good show, and I just don't understand how they can write such a poor female character. Where, on top of it, you see Oliver's mom and Felicity and Fia, who are okay female characters. Felicity is super smart and she's independent. Fia, again, strong girl, even though she's a teenager. Oliver's mom has a darkness, has a past, has her secrets. So all of these women are at the same time interesting, but they're also flawed. Each one of them has their own flaws.
Yeah, they're also all very attractive, but they don't rely on their sex appeal to carry their performance.
It's like, What the hell is Laurel wearing? Like, all the time. It's so, it's like I'm walking past a mannequin in a window or something. everything she wears and her makeup, the way they do her makeup. I don't know. It's just visually.
Well, I mean, that's what you get when you.
narratively-
That's what you get when you cast an actress from Gossip Girl. I mean, come on.
What the fuck? Sebastian Stan was in Gossip Girl, and now he's Bucky.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't much. Think about it's like I see it. I was like, okay, this is Laurel. This is based on Black Canary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I was thinking, there's no way she could. A lot of people say, oh, I can't wait when she becomes Black Canary. No, she will not. I don't see her being Black Canary.
The only resemblance she has to Black Canary is that she's really good at, fist fighting.
But she's not always good at fist fighting.
Yeah, that's true. They do.
Yeah,
When she's attacked and she doesn't do anything.
she's always like the damsel in distress.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
they do the whole.
Sometimes she fights back, sometimes she doesn't.
Yeah, well, they do the whole contrived writing thing where they just nerf her physical abilities just so Ollie can have someone to rescue.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Laurel. Let's not spend the whole video dwelling on her. Let's talk.
I will say this. I have a problem with how easy she just went up and because in the first few episodes she hates Oliver because he took her sister, cheated on her with her sister, so this is the boat he was in, and she died in the boat when it sank. And her and her father had really good reasons to hate Oliver, but then she started to line up and say, you know what? He may have inadvertently killed my sister, but I like Oliver now. I was like, what? Is it?
She talks a lot in those first 4 seasons.
Yeah, her.
I know about forgiveness, but now she and then by the end she went out and sleeping with Oliver while she was dating.
Yes.
That was just. I do like the lower season 2. She got worse. We can agree. She got worse in season 2. I like her a bit more.
I wish you hadn't told me that.
Everything else gets better. Laurel gets worse. So
it's like she was a bit uneven in the first season.
Okay.
But then it's just there were some good moments for her. I do like her relationship with when she and Tommy were together, because I thought that was more believable than her and Oliver.
Yeah, but then you had retarded moments like in that one Huntress episode where, for no apparent reason, whenever Ollie and Helena are, they're doing sort of like the quadruple date, then all of a sudden they just start fucking yelling at each other. I think Laurel or somebody just pulls up some stupid arbitrary reason as to why they just decide to act all vindictive towards their spouses. I'm just thinking, what the fuck is going on here? Why is this happening? People do not fucking act like this.
No, they do not.
Okay. Like I said, let's move on to something else. One last question is that I kind of want to move on to her dad, but something that kind of bugs me is that the whole subplot where her mother shows up and she shows the picture of a girl she thinks is Sarah, is that am I the only one here who thinks that whole subplot just didn't really go anywhere?
That will partly be resolved in the second season.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, because I just couldn't help but think, okay, what is this, filler or something?
No, I think it was weird because they got such a big actress to play Katie Cassidy's mom, Laurel's mom. They got River Song to play the mom, and it's like
she was terrible. I gotta say,
she was terrible, but it is River Song. I mean, you don't get her for.
No. I do like Alice Kingston. She's a great actress. It's just, first of all, her American accent was so off.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, you could say the same thing. You could say the same thing about Quentin Lance. I mean, his actors.
No, the actor who played Quentin makes a great American accent.
That's kind of debatable.
I think his accent is okay.
I mean, yeah, it's good for the most part, but there are definitely moments where you can see he's struggling to maintain it, though.
Anyway, I think Aaron's Keisha. I was like, I see her performance with the part where she was breaking down. It's like she told me she was gonna meet Oliver in the home, and I killed my daughter. I was like, God. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was like her breakdown. And I was like, oh man. And also, I should mention the damn cheesy line she said where she was like, "I'm going to be in Central City. Go take a plane. I'll be there in a flash."
Yeah, I just face palmed when she said that.
I was like, "Fucking hell, really? We get it." I'm gonna be in Coast City. I'll be there in a Green Lantern or something.
Oh wait, she could have said something equally as retarded, like no villain shall escape my sight or some bullshit like that.
I'm going to Metropolis. I'm going to have a super time.
Yeah, exactly.
City. I might have a backtastic.
Yeah, or wait, better. She goes to Hub City. Hey, I have a question to ask. Get it?
Yeah, I'm going to Blue Haven. I might have a night wing of a time.
Okay.
Just wing it.
All right.
Okay. We're going to go right to stuff.
Yeah.
Enough fun.
How do you all feel about Detective Quentin Lance?
I love him.
Yeah. At first, he came off.
He's obviously the show Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At first, he just sort of came off as being like that sort of archetype, the one cop who obsessively strives to bring the superhero in, that you see in pretty much everything else. But yeah, I kind of enjoy all the development he goes through. I think the actor does a really good job at conveying all the turmoil and the hardships he goes through by.
It's the idea of like believing in the system, and as the show goes on, you see that actually the system doesn't work so good. So you do need a vigilante, you do need an outside force, and he realizes that to the point where at the end he needs, begrudgingly, he becomes an ally of Green Arrow.
Yeah. And I also like.
He's a really good dad. I mean, you have to be an awesome father to put up with all of Laurel's crap.
I know.
Oh yeah, without punching her.
Also, I think that he does a really good job of acting, especially when it comes to, all the parts where he pretty much gets, defeated by Ollie in the whole process where they finally manage to disprove him being Green Arrow, and, all the other times where he's violently pursuing somebody and they just figure out some kind of Deus Ex Machina to show that, oh, he's not the vigilante, and you just see him pouting later on. I think he does a really good job showing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I also really like at the beginning of season 2, he's humbled a whole lot by being demoted to just a regular ass police officer. I really like that. Yeah. I hope I'm sure they're going to do something really fantastic with his character by doing that.
Yes. He, Quentin Lance, so far in the second season, has been awesome. Even, sometimes you see these secondary characters have an episode that is central, like it's either Dig-centric or Quentin-centric or something like that. And in those moments, you see that, there's a reason why they're a secondary character, because they can't really carry a whole episode by themselves. But in Arrow, what they did do, and what they will do in the second season, is that you will see that characters like Diggle, like Quentin Lance, they actually can carry an episode all by themselves. And it's okay for the spotlight sometimes to not be on Oliver.
All right. Ed, any additional comments?
No, I think you guys hear, but I do like Lance. He kind of, to me, I felt like it was a bit too hard Oliver, but I was thinking, oh, well, he did actually have his daughter killed.
Yeah.
I kind of see how him going to liking, well not liking, but going to accept Green Arrow for what he's done. I mean, he's all about catching him, sticking to justice. I like the scene where they brought in Roy Harper, and Roy was pretty much doing his own thing, and he brought Roy and Thea into this morgue and showed one of the victim of Arrow victims that he killed, and and pretty much say this is what he does, and show pretty much putting the arrow in his chest, in the corpse's chest, showing him that he's a dangerous man.
I gotta say though, when you bring up Roy Harper, I gotta say I just do not get that character. Like it's not the comic book character. I'm just saying the character on the show. I don't get him because
He's hot. What is there to get?
well, it's just that when you first see him, he's all he does is just talk about how hard it is to be on the streets, how hard it is to be a lower class, working class hoodlum who has to beat the shit out of people in order to make a living. All he does is that he goes on like these overly preachy diatribes about how hard it is to be, an oppressed working class kid to Thea, and all he does is just talk about how it contrasts with her being all, privileged and extravagant. And I'm just thinking, is this guy ever going to have a real conversation with Thea? Because all he does is he just goes on these big ass preachy rants with about how she sucks because she's got everything handed to her on a silver platter, and he's better than her because he's actually had a really tough life or some shit. I was like, dude, break into rap or something. Maybe you might make some good rap. I mean, I just don't get him. And I don't get his obsession with wanting to find Green Arrow.
Well, you know that at some point there's that episode where Green Arrow saves his life, and only after that does he become obsessed with finding Green Arrow because he feels that.
Yeah, but he saves a crap load of other people's lives. I don't see them obsessively pining after him.
Well, because they are not meant to become Arsenal. No,
well, I think what the more thing about Roy is that the thing he says about how his life had no meaningless. I think if you remember the episode when he was kidnapped by that guy that was going around killing people.
Yeah, the guy who was on the train.
Yeah, he was in a train, and then when the guy says, "Do you want to die?" he says, "Yes," because he believes that his life has no meaning. Like he does a lot of things he wasn't proud of, and then he sees Green Arrow saving him, and things that he wants to be just like him to do good.
It's a spiritual awakening.
Yes, because I started thinking he doesn't think he's a good enough person because of the way he lives, and I don't know. I do like Roy a bit.
I just find him to be.
I find him to. The point of him complaining to Fia over the point of him being a grouch at the beginning is that he is the opposite of where Oliver was before the island, in the sense that Oliver's life didn't have any meaning, but he didn't know it. Oliver lived a life of luxury, and he was at the same point spiritually I don't know, in the sense of not having a purpose in his life, where Roy is. But Roy comes from the opposite end of the spectrum, where he has lived a life of poverty and of lack and of wanting. So you have like the two. That's how I see it anyway. You have basically the two sides of the same coin, which is two people that want to be more or want to have some meaning and some purpose. And Oliver found that through this vigilante thing, and now Roy thinks that he can have a similar path, even though they come from opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, but I still think his dialogue is just really weird and eccentric.
Yeah, and I also you see them trying to make him funny sometimes, like they just cram some one-liners in there.
Well, they try to make him. They try to make him funny because most of his dialogue just consists of monologues.
Oh, that won't change.
It's just weird. That's not. I would hesitate to actually call that, an actual character.
Well,
But
he does. I think he does get better.
well, okay. Anyways, another character I really want to talk about is Diggle, who is a lot of people really like Diggle.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is there not to like?
But Ian,
But I find him to be inconsistently written, because at the very beginning of the show, Diggle is sort of presented as being sort of Ollie's conduit into his family life, and being responsible and being morally sound. But then later on, they do the whole BS cliched thing where Diggle just resigns because his personal feelings overtake him, and he's just really butthurt over the fact that Ollie wouldn't let him chase after Deadshot and get revenge.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what happens. It's been a little while since I've seen the whole series, but yeah, I just found that to be. I like his character. I think I like him a lot, but I just don't think he's written very consistently. That's just me, though.
I just
Although,
really like Diggle. I mean, I think he's the voice of reason in a lot of what Oliver does. He's loyal. He's a good backup. Oliver knows that he can depend on him. And like you said, secondary characters should bring out certain qualities
right.
in the character. And I think Diggle does that for Oliver very well.
Yeah, and I also really liked seeing sort of a more gentle side of him whenever Felicity comes into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a pretty welcome touch.
I do think it's interesting. Thinking about it, I think it shows that how much Oliver really can trust him when he got shot. I think Deadshot shot him, and it was like this kind of like this toxin in the bullet, and he started to dying, and Oliver heals him, and rather than just before he wakes up, drop him off somewhere. He woke up and he's in his hideout, and Oliver says, "How you doing?" and pretty much revealed to him that he's
really awesome cliffhanger. Really awesome cliffhanger. The show had some really badass cliffhangers. I gotta give it that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think my favorite out of all of them is when is at the very end of that one episode where you see Moira in a meeting with all these other guys, and then Green Arrow just pops in and he just yells, "Moira Queen, you have failed this city." I was just thinking, oh shit.
Favorite one I stand up is when Lieutenant Lance brought his policeman to the mansion, and it's like arresting Oliver for believing that he's a vigilante.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of ass covering, because, whenever, I think the writers, I think one of the strongest things about the writing in the show is that whenever characters get into trouble, like when Ollie gets, implicated for being Green Arrow, like when they see him in the video footage, or when Felicity gets arrested because of all her really suspicious transactions for like arrowheads and stuff. I think they do really good jobs at sort of giving solutions to all these little crises that they keep creating. I think.
Yeah, it shows that they don't live in this alternate reality where reason and common sense don't really work anymore.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't really work anymore in some.
Yeah, they don't rely on Deus Ex Machinas. Well, not too much, anyways. I really like that. I especially like how earlier in the series, whenever Ollie's put under house arrest, he pretty much tells to Diggle, "Oh yeah, I planned this whole thing," and you could just tell he was full of shit when he said that. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking, wow, that's actually very indicative of the Ollie that I know. Because Ollie's not really, he doesn't plan like 100 steps ahead, like say Batman does.
Mm-hmm.
He's sort of spur of the moment in a way. But yeah. Okay.
Who were we talking about? Were we talking about Diggle yet?
Yeah. I kind of delineated a little bit, but yeah, I think we were still talking about Diggle.
Okay. Making sure.
You have anything to add?
No, not really. I think that much that more will come for season 2. I do like he's a military guy, or more like I'm more like how at first he started off as just like the chauffeur for. Yeah, I like how he was like he was there to look at Oliver because he was under protection and they think there was just like you need this guy to protect you. Say I'll need protection, but he was like I'll be on your ass. Or something.
Sorry, Ed.
What?
Going. No, sorry. Ed.
No, okay, what do you say?
I love the fact that Diggle, and I think I've seen other characters do this too. I love the fact that Diggle is very ironic when it comes to his racial background, because I distinctly remember there was a scene where he's going. I think he needed to buy Vertigo or something for Oliver, and he goes like, "Yes, the black man has bought you the drugs." And then at some point, there's something about their cover identities, and he goes like, "Yes, I'm a black guy who's a driver." And I love that about him. I love that again. They don't live in this posh, stylized world where you can't make racial references of any kind, because it's very ironic about it, but it's also very it's not aggressive like. Just tries to remind you that yes, he is black, and yes, that does imply certain stereotypes, but within the context of the show, Diggle is obviously his own character, and he's going to make fun of those stereotypes while at the same time destroying them.
Yeah, he's got a very. That's one thing the thing I love the most about Diggle is his really dry sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really love how ironic and sarcastic he is towards Ollie. I think that really he provides a lot of levity in a lot of the more dramatic moments. I would probably say. Okay, I think the last chief character I think I want to talk about is Ollie himself.
Well, can we talk about what about Tommy and Felicity?
Fuck.
Yeah. Oh.
Just very, very briefly.
Yeah. Okay. Felicity.
Okay, I got something for Felicity. All right. Before she joined in. Don't you think they made her stupid that all those excuse Oliver makes for finding something for him?
I thought that was funny, but I don't think she ever bought into it.
But the stuff like him looking for the arrow thing, and she just just Google it.
Oh.
Or like
gave her magic technological powers.
Or like stuff like there was an episode where he needed some kind of sample of this toxin he has, and Felicity just found it, and he gave it an excuse it's kind of like in
I think it was the Curari drug from Deadshot. I'm not entirely sure about that.
Well, it's like how it's kind of like the but it wasn't like in the Dark Knight. I mean, or like in the Nolan Batman when Bruce went up to Lucius Fox, and he's like, "Oh, I need something for Spelunky or cliff jumping." It's like, "Oh, cliff jumping? Okay," but yeah, it's like, Mr. Wayne, you can do whatever you want. I'll ask questions. Where Felicity asks like, "Oh, you need that? Okay," like she believed with his bullshit.
Yeah, I don't think she I don't think she believed it. I just think that she probably.
She's a bit more naive. She came out more naive than Lucius. Like, "Oh yeah, it's Spelunky. Okay, wait.
Yeah, you have a point there.
I think the point is that she was she wasn't in the same position that Lucius was in the sense that Lucius and Bruce were pretty much equals within the company. She was basically an employee in the company that Oliver owned. So even if she did not believe him, she was still given a direct order, and she knew that if she pissed him off and if she asked too many questions, she might get fired. So let's not compare it too much to the Lucius Bruce relationship in the Nolan movies.
Yeah.
Also, being that she did work in that company, being that she did know a little bit about. Let's not forget that Felicity also had a very big a very important relationship to Oliver's not foster dad, but the guy that was married to his mom at the time.
Oh, sure.
So she knew something about some shady going on within the company. So she wouldn't have been that surprised when one of the people of the Queen family came up with some ridiculous stuff. But I do agree that when he started going to her and she seemed to be like genius hacker, forensic scientist, chemist, physicist, they did make her a little bit too much a girl of all trades, you know.
She was a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, exactly. Like whatever kind of techie problem that Oliver had, Felicity would deal with it, even though it was far beyond her area of expertise as an IT analyst or whatever she was.
Yeah, she was sort of a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
In a few instances, but
and I will say that regarding Felicity, because I have my ear on the Tumblr ground, and I know that Olicity, Oliver and Felicity's relationship, is the biggest ship in the Arrow universe, and I believe that 99% of this ship is fan service, and Felicity and Oliver will never actually get together, but the show loves to hint at them getting together.
Speaking of fan service, I kind of feel like there's a bit too many shirtless scenes for Ollie.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Ain't nobody got time for
that. But, you know, here's the thing. I don't think you'd be complaining if there's too many scenes of Laurel in her broad panties.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I didn't say I wouldn't be complaining about that. I mean,
will you be complaining about that? Laurel in her broad panties in a few episodes?
Maybe. I guess.
I don't think she's that hot.
I mean, yeah, she's not. Well, I mean,
let me tell you. In my humble opinion, Diggle has way finer a body than Oliver has, but that's just me.
He feels like a rock. He's like a wrestler.
God, he needs to be Jon Stewart.
Yeah, I think he'd be a pretty good Jon Stewart, but shit. Yeah, my view on Felicity. I don't have a whole lot to say about her. I think she's adorable. I think she's funny. I find.
Oh, I would say when she first appeared, I find her extremely annoying. Like her nervous quirk. Like she said, I didn't mean to say that. No, I didn't mean to say that. Oh no. You know, like she says something that sounds like it's an innuendo for something sexual, but actually not.
Innuendos? What? Innuendos?
Sexual innuendos. Like she made some kind of like something that hurt
like,
to her
head. I love to be inside of you or something. I missed you being inside of me, something like that.
Yeah, and then she's like, no, I didn't need that. No, I didn't need that.
Yeah, that is true.
It's like, no. We didn't think that way until you pointed out. Now we can put it on your head. Yeah. But then she starts to grow on me. There's a lot of characters like, I hate you, but then I start to like.
Yeah. Okay, as for Tommy, I'm kind of glad you brought that up, because one thing I wanted to comment on about Tommy and his dad Malcolm, I was definitely getting a really strong Green Goblin, Harry Norman Osborn vibe.
I think we all.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Until the final episode, it's like, oh, they went to that route. Okay.
But I think they kept it unique enough that you didn't have Tommy having hallucinations. With John Barrowman just standing there in a mirror yelling, "Avenge me!"
I think the producers were very smart in what they did with Tommy, because in all honesty, Tommy didn't do that much in the show.
No, he didn't
that big
do.
of a presence, but because they made this ominous atmosphere, like you don't know if Tommy is going to turn out like his dad or if he's going to turn out good. And for a while, especially when Oliver, like an idiot, fucked Laurel, it did feel like Tommy, this is going to be the thing that drives him over the edge and makes him evil. So that with his final episode, when it turns out that no, actually Tommy was a good guy all along, even though he didn't do that much throughout the show, you felt sorry for him. On top, first of all, because he did die being a hero, and two, because you did think that he was going to turn evil. So you felt sorry for, I'm sorry that I doubted you.
Yeah, I liked that. I also I think one thing they did a really fantastic job of doing is that they did a fantastic job of not making it painfully obvious who the evil Archer was.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I knew from the start that it was one of the Merlyns because it's Merlyn who was Ollie's sort of arch nemesis from the comic books. So. Well, honestly, it's kind of debatable whether it's Merlyn or Deathstroke or Clock King or Count Vertigo or whatever.
Oh, okay.
It's never made abundantly clear. But
I always assume that Merlyn in the comics is like pretty much Arrow's arch nemesis, kind of like the Joker is to Batman. But
the Green Arrow.
Yeah.
The anti, he's the reverse Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Merlyn wasn't really introduced until Merlyn hasn't shown up that much, at least not in the comics I've read. The comics I've read were like the Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams, Green Arrow, Green Lantern team up, which is sort of which was my introduction. But they didn't really. But to be fair, they didn't really deal as much with supervillains in that series as they did with real world issues and whatnot. Yeah, but anyways, back to the topic. If I didn't know that Merlyn was the name of one of the biggest Green Arrow villains, then I would have never guessed who the evil Archer really was.
Uh-huh.
So I gotta give them real big props. I mean, yeah, I knew who it was, but that's not really the show's fault. So, yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Although I try to think maybe it was obvious that I can't think that the timetable which came first, the Dark Archer appearing or Malcolm Merlyn came in.
No, Malcolm Merlyn showed up long before they brought in the evil Archer.
You know what? I think there was a hint because there's one where I think he was archering out in the back.
No, he wasn't archering. He was he was fencing actually.
Fencing.
Yeah, and he was damn good at fencing. Yeah, like we saw hints that he was a really, really accomplished, physical combatant. So,
I wasn't surprised when it turns out it was Malcolm, because I was thinking, man, I don't know if Tommy has an evil side. We didn't see that. He came out as like this jokey, the jokey best friend, and then they brought in, and I think Malcolm, if I remember, they just call him Malcolm. And there was a scene where he was fencing and he's with a mask on, and then we revealed that, that's Malcolm Merlyn. And thinking, well, came out as a bit of a bad guy. I think he was like the guy helping out with.
Well, of course he came off as a bit of a bad guy. He canceled, Tommy's, he canceled his trust fund.
Oh, is this a bad guy? Is this more like a asshole dad kind of thing? I was thinking like he was
Yeah, I was being facetious when I said that.
Oh yeah, well yeah, okay. But he was. I remember he was helping out with Myra with something, looking for someone, or if you remember, like they show his face, and she's always. It's always. You remember the first
No, I
five
think it
episodes?
was more that he was involved with that whole conspiracy thing that they were building up to, the Undertaking. He was one of the first
Okay.
participants that they showed in the series for that.
But you remember, like in the first three episodes, they always end with Myra. Literally, every episode ends with Myra in this like seclusive location, and she's talking to the guy
Yeah,
saying, "He did this thing," and you just see his back of his head, and then he found his folder and showed the symbol that's in Oliver's hit list book
yeah,
that his father gave him,
uh,
and then it's real. Oh, that's Captain Jack Harkness.
yep,
And then they reveal his last name. They just call him Malcolm until the episodes when he was festing. I was like, oh, he's Malcolm Merlyn. Oh, he might be because I know that Merlyn is an enemy of yeah. I was thinking, oh, he's gonna be the bad
yeah.
guy for the
See,
rest of the thing.
yeah, like I said, if you didn't have that knowledge, then the whole reveal that he was the evil Archer would have completely taken you by surprise. Because they
Oh yeah,
foreshadowed, yeah, man, they foreshadowed it, sort of, but they didn't make it painfully obvious.
yeah. I think if for us fans who know the character, I think for general audience, like, what? Tommy's dad's the
Yeah,
bad guy?
yeah, and I also think it wouldn't have made much sense for Tommy to be the evil Archer because they didn't really hint at anything with him being like brainwashed or secretly trained or anything. There wasn't really any foreshadowing involved with that, so that wouldn't really have made any sense. Okay,
And let's not forget that when Tommy saw Oliver as Green Arrow kill people, that really freaked him out, and it didn't seem like he was faking it.
yeah,
Tommy, we miss you.
yeah. Okay, we talked about the characters, now we're going to get into the plot, which is going to be a little bit difficult for me because, like I said, it's been a little while since I watched the season, so hopefully you two can sort of help me out with the finer details.
Okay, honestly, I'm so wrapped up with season two. The last time I saw season one was the final episode of season one. So I can't remember all episodes in.
Well,
So,
one thing that we need to talk about the plot, and we haven't talked about it so far, is that obviously with this show you have two plots.
Flashbacks. Yeah, I wanted.
Flashbacks and present.
Yeah, and I wanted to
oh yeah, let's
say.
talk about the island stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to say the flashbacks are fucking amazing. I love them. I think
I really enjoy that in each flashback they show how Oliver, like you see when Oliver he's shirtless, he has the scar. Remember the poster? He got all the scars on him and the tattoo. And then the flashback they reveal in certain episodes where he got the scars. Like the scars.
Yeah, because he was tortured. He was tortured by Deathstroke.
Yeah, and then we see he gets a tattoo, where he gets the tattoo, and I'm really interested where you remember in his like his adamant around his stomach, he got like this light.
Man, I'm not too keen on all the scars were that were on Stephen Amell's shirtless body. So
Yeah, but you think about it, it's like it looks like he's been through hell in the island for years.
oh yeah, he
years.
does. He absolutely does.
And I'm really liking how they reveal where he got those scars, where and all those stuff, how he got those battle scars through it. I really like those kinds of flashbacks.
Yeah. I think all the flashbacks on the island, they're really engaging, they're extremely well written. They're really, they make you want to see more. And
Yeah.
I think that there are a couple little bitty tiny things I could nitpick. When they introduced Shadow, I found it really questionable how the daughter of a Chinese general who's mostly been raised in Japan can speak perfect English. I mean, she doesn't even have a little bit of an accent.
Yeah. Although, I mean, did she say she was raised in China or she was like American?
No.
Cause she looks half mixed. She looks half like Chinese American.
Well, I just attribute that to the CW needing to cast as pretty women as possible for the roles, but
The bastards.
yeah.
How
But
dare you giving pretty people jobs?
yeah.
You think we want to see attractive people? Well, you're right.
Yeah. Shadow was really, really hot, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, I found that to be a little questionable. I thought the whole thing with Slade Wilson and Billy Wintergreen, man, the Deathstroke mask they had is so freaking scary looking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I really like it. It's like a Jason mask, right?
Yeah,
Like
it yeah, it looks like a Jason mask. Like I think if Jason knew martial arts, I think that's he would be Deathstroke in this show because he was scary as hell.
I really like the actor who's played Slade. He is awesome.
Texas, champion of Capua.
What?
He's a Spartacus, right?
Yeah, he was Manu Bennett. He was in Spartacus.
He was in the Hobbit movie. He's what was the what?
He's Azog.
Axel, yes.
Yeah, like the people who make Arrow love Spartacus because they have like 3 Spartacus actors up in there.
And Doctor Who. They also love Doctor Who.
They also love Doctor Who. Really good taste. That's why Arrow is so good.
What?
Because the producers have some really good taste.
The only Doctor Who actor I kind of I recognize is John Barrowman. Who else do they have in there?
Alice Kingston, Laura's mom.
She was River Song.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay.
doctor's wife.
Oh, all right. But yeah, the island stuff. I think some of the action scenes during the island flashbacks were probably some of the best action scenes in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because they were mostly set during daytime, and I could actually see what was happening.
Yeah.
And
I'm confused with the geology where this island located. It's like somewhere in between China and Russia. No,
it's
right?
it's like it's somewhere in China's. It's somewhere in like the. It's somewhere in China. It's somewhere close to China or Hong Kong or somewhere. I don't know. It's a comic book world, so geology
So
doesn't really apply all that well.
Maybe it's in a lake in the States somewhere.
Yeah, maybe they'll do some BS plot twist where it's actually really close to North America. I don't know.
Or maybe they'll do something like it's Lost, where the island can actually move.
No, it can phase in and out of time portals or some bullshit.
Oliver will find the wheel at some point, and he'll turn
I can't wait for him fighting with the Smoke Monster.
it.
I also know from Lost. I don't fucking watch the show. I didn't know the Smoke Monster. That's it.
I also think.
I was like, sorry.
I also think that the tone for the flashback scenes was. I was getting a really big vibe from Green Arrow Year One, the graphic novel by Andy Diggle and Jock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Diggle.
well, yeah, that's
where he's from.
yeah, that's they named him after Andy Diggle.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and also later on when they actually talk about Diggle's brother, they actually acknowledge that his name is Andy. So
No.
yeah, there you go.
Oh, Andy Dick, I didn't caught that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. But I think especially in the intro, whenever you see Ollie, he's got the big beard and he's got the really long hair and the hood on. He looks identical. He looks identical to the way Jock drew him in Green Arrow Year One.
Oh yeah. They should bring that back to beer.
Yeah, he should have the little Van Dyke mustache. Okay, getting back on topic. Yeah, the island scenes were really good. I'm trying to find some problems to talk about with them.
I just hope that at some point they'll be done with the island. Because I can see it very easily turning into something. I gotta be honest. I don't always see the point of the fucking island scenes. Like sometimes they mesh with what's happening in the present, but other times it just seems like a way to pass the time. I'm not always as excited about what's going on the island because I know that it's in the past, as with what's going on in the present. And I hope that at some point, I don't know, if it makes it to the 4th season or the 5th season, that they'll stop doing the island flashbacks at some point.
Well, I think maybe at some point in the 2nd season they'll actually finally get through with the island scenes, and they'll show the last flashback. They'll show the last flashback where he finally gets back to Starling City.
I think we have at least 4 seasons of flashback scenes.
That's the thing about I'm worried about the shows. As you know, CW, they keep shows longer as it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
If
it's successful, like
well, Arrow is
Smallville were successful.
Well, yeah, well, Arrow is super, super successful, and I'm afraid that they have a story.
Surprisingly
the writers,
so.
The writers and the producers have a story in mind for how to handle Arrow, but then when they ran out of the story arc, CW is like, no, let's keep it going. It's like it happened with Supernatural and with
I think
Smallville.
with Supernatural, the creator Eric Kripke had a very specific story in mind for 5 seasons, and you can argue that after he left, after the 5th season, yes, the quality of Supernatural dropped. But what is different about Arrow, and what to a point was different about Smallville, these are comic book based shows, and comic books have a certain narratology that is very different from other traditional television shows. I have no problem seeing Arrow have an excellent 6th season or a mediocre 7th season and then a very good 8th season. It depends on what story from the comic books that they choose to get their inspiration from. Because with Smallville had a horrible 7th season, a horrible 8th season, but the 9th season was pretty good. And likewise with the 10th season.
Yeah, these may be comic book based shows, but the overall, plot structure, is very, very loosely based on the comic book mythology. Which, I'm not complaining about that. I like that. I have no problems with that, but I'm just pointing that out. A lot of the supporting characters were not from the DC mythos. Thea, Diggle, and Moira, I think. I'm not entirely sure. I know Tommy and Malcolm.
I know that I heard Moira is in the New 52 Green Arrow comics.
Well, okay, but
and Diggle, they introduced Diggle in the 50 in the
right.
DC.
Right, but they originated in the show. Felicity is also a totally original character.
Felicity Smoke was in the comic books.
She was?
I think she was, but she wasn't necessarily associated with Green Arrow.
Okay, I know Colin Salmon's character Walter was not a comic book character. But I do agree, though, that the way that Green Arrow was portrayed in the first season, like I said this before, it's a lot like the Mike Grell run, where he has
just to finish my earlier point, I think Felicity Smoke is from the Firestorm comics, so she's associated with Firestorm.
Smoke, Firestorm.
Oh, hilarious.
Yeah, that was lame. Yeah, anyways, the whole thing where he has a list of names and he's basically crossing out all those names.
Mm-hmm. And
the fact that he's super brutal when he's dealing with criminals, the fact that he's either maiming or killing them, it's identical to the way Mike Grell would have done things, because during like the 80s run, Ollie went after corrupt politicians and gangbangers and drug dealers and all the like. Went after the evil bourgeoisie, all the evil rich people. So it's very much something that he would do. But in the second season, they're making him more like the traditional superhero, which I really, really, really like. Because they're making it so that he is going to try not to kill anyone, and his reasons for actually helping the city are not completely selfish like they are in the first season. You know, he's actually being altruistic in his tenure as being Green Arrow. I think they may have hinted at the fact that he actually may have a more variety of arrows to use other than the ones that just, penetrate people's skin and go deep into them and kill them.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
He does?
Well, for the second season, yeah, I think one is like a tracking device arrow. I think there's one is this explosive. Is there an explosive arrow he used?
Yeah.
No, in the show, right?
Oh, I don't remember him.
I thought it was Deanna in the second season.
I don't remember.
There was a tracking arrow he used, right?
Yeah. There's truly no boxing glove arrow so far.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, they need to do that at some point, or at least hint at it. I don't know. Hint at the boxing glove arrows, or the adhesive, globular stuff arrows that you'd see in like Batman Brave and the Bold or something. Okay.
Oh wait, there's one where he uses it as an arrow as like a ripcord when he's swinging down.
Yeah, like a grappling hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that like near the end of the first season 2 episode where he talks with Lance. He talks with Lance and he tells him, "I think I'm gonna try a different approach." Then he just like swings away on a little rope arrow.
Yeah. There's a few little trick arrows.
Yeah. Okay. We're shooting all over the place here. Okay. Follow.
You want to talk more about Slade?
Talk about what?
Slade.
Slade
Wilson.
There's not a whole lot for me to say. I mean, I think the idea that they went with, that they approached his character, was really unique. I would like to see him at some point actually.
Australian.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
No, he was Australian in the show.
The answer is okay. I didn't like the part where this is what I was saying for. He mentioned Joe, his son, which is Jericho for the Teen Titans comic. I was thinking, could we see Rose Ravage in Arrow? I really hope.
Yeah.
And hopefully Jericho and Rose. That's the only thing, because yeah.
I'm thinking Fia Rose catfight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they might do like a small semi-adaptation of how in the comics after his son Grant, who was, the first Ravager, gets killed, that's when he decides that he's pissed off and vengeful, and he's like the unstoppable force that the Teen Titans couldn't really defeat properly. I wonder if they might just do something like that in the show. I'm not entirely sure.
Watch season 2.
Yeah.
You will like the direction they're going with Slade. I will say this: he's getting closer to the comic book Slade that you know. That's
Yeah,
all.
I think I heard you mention one time that he actually loses one of his eyes.
Who, me?
Yeah, it was you or somebody else. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't think so. I didn't mention him saying that.
I remember somebody mentioning that he loses one of his eyes later on. I'm not. Yeah,
I think you assume he loses eyes if you remember, like the first shot, seeing the Deadstroke mask with the arrow going through one of the eyes.
Oh.
So you're thinking, oh well, that's gotta be Slade, or that would be the first guy he killed. What was the guy that was his friend? they had to kill. And he shot straight in the eye.
Yeah, Bill Wintergreen.
Bill Wintergreen. I think that's obviously Slade's mask.
Yeah, but it was Wintergreen who was wearing the Deathstroke outfit. And
which looks cool.
Yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, like I said, I mean, the way that the mask has sort of these contours, it looks like there's like a squinting face underneath it. It just looks so terrifying. Like it looks like there's a guy underneath there just scowling at you permanently. It's very unsettling.
I know you have notes, but I thought of this. Do you want to talk about the villains they use in the
it's convenient you bring that up because I do want to talk about that. That's the next thing on the list. The villains. I feel that the characters that they adapted from the comics they didn't do very good jobs with, but I think all the original villains that they created were far better and far more memorable.
I want to say this. What do you think how I just want to know because I think you might feel different how I feel. How do you think sorry, let me rephrase that. What do you think how they presented Count Vertigo?
I didn't care for it.
I really like the actor's performance. He reminds me like a darker version of the Frank Gorsher Riddler from the NOS series.
I got the impression that he was trying to be too much like Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah. It seems like they were going to make him like the Joker or like Oliver's Joker. But I really like the whole thing where they call him the Count. He's a drug dealer, and he established Vertigo, which gave you the same effect as his Vertigo powers. And they call him the Count because he leaves two puncture wounds in their neck.
Which I don't mind, but I mean his personality is just. Damn it! I'm sorry.
Go. No, finish your thought.
No, his personality is so. It reminds me too much of Heath Ledger's Joker. It just comes off. His character just comes off as being derivative and not very unique.
Know. Heath Ledger's Joker was so maniacal. I would say he reminds me of like a darker Frank Gore's Riddler. That's it, because he was too overzealous. He's laughing, he's chuckling, he's like, it's so like something like Vertigo. It's just I don't know. I liked it.
I hated what they did with Count Vertigo because it seems so completely over the top and not. I finally got used to this sober, serious universe that they insist on inhabiting. Like this is a serious show with superheroes.
Well, that's what I like about his performance. He was having fun.
No, but don't you think it's stupid? Because why do they call Count Vertigo Count in the comics? Because he's a fucking count. Like that's the entire.
Yeah, like he's a high-ranking official.
Yeah, the reason why they call the Count. Well, the reason they call the Count makes sense. The puncture wounds in their neck, Count Dracula.
But why would there be puncture wounds in the neck? There don't have to be puncture wounds in the neck. They just fought that out so they could explain why it's called Count Vertigo.
I know. I do enjoy. I just think he was fun to look at. He was
he was fun, but for you, it was fun based on his performance and I'll be the first to admit it's awesome to be an actor and to see an actor have fun with a part. And obviously, Seth Gable had fun with this part, and he comes back. I think he comes back in the first season when he's in the nut house. When they think that Vertigo, is that in the first season also?
What?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, there's another episode in the first season where Vertigo comes back and he's in the crazy house. And I love him in the crazy house because that's where he fucking belongs. And he made perfect sense to be crazy in the crazy house. But it made no sense for him to be crazy and be an evil mastermind with a drug kingdom to rule, because it's like he doesn't fit in that universe. But
Well, he's a drug dealer, so I think he could say he sampled his own supplies.
I will say this much though. I like the idea of him as a drug dealer. I actually think that is kind of neat. It's sort of like an ultimate sort of spin on him.
And Vertigo is a pretty good name for a drug.
Yeah.
Don't you want to try some Vertigo?
Yeah, and you gotta, and you have the whole thing where Thea is is a junkie, kind of like the way Roy Harper was during the 70s.
Yeah.
Although I don't, is there ever a point where she shoots up heroin?
No.
Who, Thea?
Yeah, because
I think she tried other drugs and she drinks, but
well, I mean that was the drug that during the 70s that whole issue was devoted to was heroin. That's what Roy Harper got addicted to in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But yeah, okay, Deadshot.
He was fine.
I didn't like him in the beginning, like at all.
I still don't like him.
But he has a very good episode in the second season. I think you're right.
Yes. I do like him a bit. When he came back, I think it's pretty much a cop out to want him to do justice for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he got arrows.
Yeah, he was better. He was better in that second episode, but in the beginning, everything about him was wrong. He did not resemble Deadshot at all. I mean, and here's a question.
Yeah, but him tattoo his victims over his body.
Oh my god, that's stupid.
Yeah, that was retarded. What?
Yeah, seriously, he was like, and also that came from somewhere. Who did that? No, it was like who's from the Batman comics? It starts with a Z. What?
Zaz?
Victor Zaz.
You're talking about
Victor Zaz. It's kind of Victor Zaz, where he just put up numbers of victims. He put it on his. He carves.
Yeah, whereas Zaz carves little tally marks into his skin.
That's kind of like Deathstroke's doing. He's putting his victim's name over his body.
Yeah, and I thought that was they make him a mentally unstable assassin, which that's an oxymoron if I ever heard one. But okay, and another thing about Deadshot that perplexes me is that he uses bullets laced with poison. What is the point of lacing bullets with poison? I mean, they're bullets. I mean, if you put them in the right place, then you don't need poison.
And it's called Deadshot, meaning he shot you, you're dead.
Exactly. It was so stupid, and I think the poison, the Kirari, the only reason they put it in there was to have a plot device so that they could use to track him down and beat him.
Mm-hmm.
It was convenient for Ollie to track him down. Whereas, well, they didn't even need to do that, because in Batman Arkham City, they do something that's, that kind of makes sense, is that Deadshot, in his hubris, he just arrogantly leaves behind all these clues behind for Batman to track him down with. But that's kind of not a very fair comparison, I know, but it made sense. It didn't betray his character. But yeah, I'll agree that in the second episode, Deadshot was he was a lot better. I do like that he actually used I do like that he was shown to be very effective as an assassin.
Did he use the eye patch, his thing eye patch?
He did use the eye patch at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it did have the little red laser scope thing.
Right.
And also, and also I I was kind of a little confused when they showed China White. Because they
yeah. By the way, yeah, our friend Steve, hates her wig, which is very understandable. It looks fake. It looks like it's a wig.
well, they made her. Well,
It's a wig.
it made her look like the character at least.
Yeah, it did.
But yeah, it is kind of it does look real fake, and there are even other parts where she's walking around and she doesn't have the wig on, which is kind of strange. But yeah, they keep bringing in China White, and I keep thinking they're going to do something with her, and they don't really do anything with her. Like I keep thinking that she's going to make a show up for the season finale, but no, it was all about the Undertaking.
Yeah.
And shit. This is kind of where my memory of the show starts to fail me a little bit, because it's a little hard for me to remember a lot of the stuff from The Undertaking. I just remember that it was all about the Glade, destroying the Glades, and it was...
Because Malcolm Merlyn was pissed off.
Yeah, and it was some doomsday device.
It was kind of like the end to Batman Begins. There's
Yeah.
insane who thinks that if he kills a shitload of people, he will save an entire city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, okay, what was the purpose of the list originally? Because at first I kind of got the idea that, okay, is the list like, maybe the list is like a list of corrupt people in the Glade, since that's what they're trying to destroy, but no, it's for people all around Starling City. Well, then why is that one device specifically targeted at the Glades? What's the deal with that?
I think the deal is that they're making this shit up.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think... it's interesting that a plot device that was so important at the beginning of the show actually became kind of irrelevant by the end of it, because
because it wasn't...
Harper's dad wanted him to fight this specific list of people. I don't know if Malcolm Merlyn was on the list or not.
Maybe if somebody in the comments can actually enlighten me about the details and maybe answer my question, because I'm hesitant to actually consider this a problem. Because I don't want to sound ignorant. I don't want to take anything out of context.
What is your question? Your question is everybody on the list involved in the Undertaking?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think everybody on that list are the people that Oliver's dad dealt with or knew about.
Oh.
They were evil. But not all of them. Because you see at some point when Malcolm assembles the people that he needs to talk to for the Undertaking, there are only like 20 people or something, including Moira.
I was getting the idea it was like 10 people or less.
Or something like that, but it's not. Obviously the list involves a lot of people that were kind of evil.
I remember they brought in that Asian guy a lot who was... I recognize him as Mr. Lau from The Dark Knight. I can't remember his name.
Maybe it's Mr. Lau.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
They showed him a lot, and then they just killed him off.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking coming.
And, one thing I remember about The Undertaking, one question I remember asking is that, okay, Malcolm Merlyn is determined to destroy the Glades because he really despises all the moral ambiguity and all the apathy that people show towards crime and violence and whatnot, which, that's a good motivation. It's abundantly clear that he's mentally unstable. But the question that raises is, why couldn't anybody else who was in that little committee just sort of oppose him? Like, how much authority did he actually hold? Was it just his way or the highway? Was he the final word on the ultimate plan? Because clearly everybody else was just thinking, this may be going a little too far. I mean, what was stopping them from saying anything against him? What was stopping them from just ruling out his idea?
Well, I think first of all, it's not really about the authority that Malcolm has over them, but rather the info that he has on them. And secondly, I think, it's that thing where when there's a war going on, there are always going to be people that profit more from war than from peace. And I think them being criminals or being in charge of some criminal activities, they could see the profitability of having a city in chaos and, having people come to them for either protection or guns or drugs or whatever. It's always like, war is always good for business. Basically, so it's like disaster is always good for business.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So I think that was the point. It's either one, they're afraid that if Malcolm goes down, they all go down. And two, well,
What? Malcolm goes down, they all go down? What?
Meaning that if Malcolm doesn't succeed, or if Malcolm fails, or if Malcolm is caught by the police, they will all go down.
Oh, like he might implicate them.
Yes. So obviously, better to help him and make sure that the authorities do not get involved than to leave him do whatever he wants to do. Because, one solution would be, they can always kill him if he steps out of line too much. But then again, you don't know what contingency plans he has set up in the case that he does die.
Right, like that whole thing at the end where when he dies, he ends up destroying a completely different part of the city, I think.
Yes.
Was it
yes.
a different part of the city?
Yeah, because he had two fucking devices.
Yeah. Which, I'll admit, that was not taken from Batman Begins, so, kudos to the show writers.
Where's you said on the Undertaking?
Yeah, we're still on the Undertaking.
My thing is, at the final episode, I kind of like, or the final episode, season 1, I was like, okay, I kind of see Malcolm's reason why, about learning about his wife, and then hearing, he knowing that he still kept his wife's last voice message before she died.
Yeah, that was a really haunting monologue that he went on there, by the way.
Yeah.
I think John Barrowman did a fantastic job.
But I don't know if you're still talking about it, because I want to talk a bit about how they handled the Huntress.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the Huntress was pretty poorly handled.
Oh yeah, I really like the Huntress. I really like Helena Bernelli. It was wrong to bring Helena because she's a Batman character. She's a part of the Bat family, and her coming in, it's just I get where they're going. Like her, revenging her father for killing her boyfriend, but then she comes out. She's so unhinged that it's just.
Well, the problem I had with it is that Ollie tries to lecture her on not to kill anyone, but
he's a hypocrite. Right?
Yeah, he is, because he keeps telling her, you don't have to be so brutal, you don't have to hurt them. And I was like, when the fuck have you not brutalized anybody? Because up to this point, we've only seen you maim or kill people.
Yeah.
So that just came completely out of left field.
I like her costume. But you can't have the Jim Lee costume, but still. I think the actress they got her wasn't that great.
Ugh. She was almost as bad as Laurel, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was there's one scene I always laugh. So I remember it was when Oliver brought Helena into his side and says, okay, their first go out and her not killing, and that's when she revealed the Huntress outfit. I laughed at the scene where they're in this factory and they stop, I guess, this drug deal to happen, and how Oliver says, the guy's name, someone, you have failed this city. The part where Oliver came in, he says the guy's name, and then Helena Huntress.
Yeah, she finishes his statement. She says, "You have failed this city." Yeah, she finishes.
I laughed so hard because it was like Team Rocket.
Yeah.
It's like prepare for trouble. Oh my god, it was so bad. I will say this. I hope she comes back in season 2 just to either just to kill her off, just stop her. Seriously, she's still out there. She's still
spreading her sluttiness, her violent sluttiness all over this planet.
Yeah, the Huntress stuff was bad, but it didn't infuriate me as much as everybody else. I'm just sort of ambivalent towards it.
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm not like.
Now, what confused me the most was that Jeff Johns was the guy who wrote those episodes, or he was one of the guys who wrote them, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I think he did wrote the Huntress episode, the first one.
Yeah.
Or like oh yeah, I think there was 2 parts. I think he wrote both part 1 and 2. Let me check. But Jeff Johns, he's hit and miss when it comes to writing, so.
All the Jeff Johns stuff I've read, I liked.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, he's not like Mr. 100% accurate. But
yeah, I understand he's got a proclivity for blood and gore and needless shock value and all that shit, which I can totally understand people's beef with. Shit. There's a whole bunch of other things for me to talk about, but they're just not coming up to mind right now. Yeah. Oh. Let's talk about I guess the production values, like all the physical aspects of the show rather than the narrative ones.
Let's talk about how stupid it is to have your hero there with a nightclub on top of it.
I think it's a good hideout.
What?
It's not like people can walk in. I mean, it's like a.
Just the idea that it would be a good idea to have a nightclub on top of your lair. Like, what the fuck? This is so stupid for you. Why not a Starbucks? Why not a tea shop? Why not a bingo room? Bingo rooms are so hot.
Because nightclubs are more visually interesting.
Oh, because it solves the problem of where do these kids hang out, because in Smallville you had the Talon.
What is that?
The Talon.
The Talon. The coffee shop that all the kids hang out in Smallville.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it was like the milk bar in Power Rangers, basically.
And like Verdant and Arrow, it's run by a 17-year-old because there are lots of 17-year-olds that have their own businesses.
Yep. But to be fair, though, wait, are we talking about Thea?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. To be fair, though, Thea is she's ultra wealthy, and she's. I'm sure somebody can pull a few strings for her and whatnot.
Bonnie fixes everything.
Okay. Jeff Johns did wrote the Huntress episodes. He was the teleplay. I think he's like the show's producer or looked up the story. Anyways.
Yeah.
Completely different topic.
Yeah, we're talking about like the special effects, cinematography, all the tangible stuff, basically. Friggin'
very impressive. It looks that theatrical, but
I think it's quite impressive, like all the locations that they were able to use.
Although you can tell they're all shot in Canada.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Hang on. One more narrative thing. I just thought of this. Is that how how did Ollie manage to make a big training warehouse without nobody at the company noticing? I mean, in the pilot episode.
Well, what do you mean? Oh, like how you got all those equipment down there?
Yeah, like how he was able to move all that shit and make all those, to buy all that shit, make all those transactions without anybody noticing. I mean, especially considering there was a big conspiracy against him and all that.
That's like, I mean, how did Batman got a T-Rex in his cave? And it disappears and stuff.
Well, that was from a time traveling storyline.
Maybe that's what Albert did. He time traveled. Yeah, I mean, there was in the second episode, there was like a montage. He's in the warehouse. It turns to the nightclub, and he's just shooting the arrows, and then next scene, he got all these computers out in the desk. Where did he get the computers from?
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's comic books. That's something where it's like, okay, where do those things come from? Don't ask questions.
Yeah, I realize it's a bit late to point out plot holes, but it just came to my mind. Anyways, let's focus on where we are right now in the outline. Yeah, the special effects. I think
all right. I mean, they use almost. I mean, I know you like the show because they don't overuse CG.
Nah, I think that they make real good use of practical effects. Like whenever a gun shoots, there were times when I could see there were real guns actually firing, and it wasn't like CGI bullet fire. And whenever cars blew up, they really blew up.
Yeah. The explosion looks really good in the show.
Yeah, the action it's really visceral, and the fight choreography. A lot of people say that it's really good. I think the fight choreography is fantastic when I can actually see it. There were one or two episodes where the cameraman decided to actually hold the camera still when Ollie was beating the shit out of a couple of goons, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome. Thought it was really cool and stylish looking. Kind of had some Matrix-y moves going on.
Yeah, the fighting scenes were really very good. I would say the first episode I couldn't see nothing.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
But thankfully they panned back the camera and but to me to parentheses it used to as cutscenes for like each punch and kick. There's a few fight scenes where it's like you see all the blind body blows in one shot. Yeah.
I really enjoy seeing Ollie use the bow in his combat. I really enjoy, like, he almost uses it like a staff or something. And I always enjoy seeing all the ways he like creatively utilizes it in his technique. And like the first time you see Laurel beat the shit out of a couple of guys, it was kind of, I didn't really see too much of it, but like one time in a later episode, whenever you see her fight off a couple of guys who invade her apartment, that was a pretty decent fight scene. Like, for me, that's how the hand-to-hand combat is. It flip-flops between being really impressive, really well staged, really well directed and shot, to just being completely indiscernible.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think that the fight sequence. I mean, it's different with Smallville. With Smallville, you have to use effects.
Well, yeah, it's Superman, obviously.
Yeah, of course. So I do like how grounded it looks for how it is. Yeah, I think that the fight scenes wasn't great. Obviously choreographic, but you know.
Yeah, man. The choreography is really good.
Yeah, very, very.
The fight.
I think Stephen Amell does his own stunts. If I can remember correctly, he does his own stunts, which I like. I like an actor who goes physical for his role.
Yeah, you can tell he really builds himself up to play that part, and I think one of the better fight scenes is in the pilot episode, which shockingly enough, I'm actually applying praise to the pilot episode because I thought it was horrible, but I think the fight scene whenever he and Tommy get kidnapped and he beats the shit out of all those goons and he murders them, that was pretty cool. All the rest of the fight scenes in that episode were just trash. Deanna, do you have any comments?
I think with the fight scenes, I don't know, sometimes they seem kind of very well compartmentalized in the episode, like nothing happens and well, they need to have at least one fight scene. And so it doesn't really, obviously, it never feels natural. Like, fight scenes never really feel natural within action movies or action TV shows. But, I don't know, I wish I could see more fight scenes when Oliver is not in his costume, which happens from time to time. I wish I could see more stuff with Diggle.
Well, it feels natural because you could see that Stephen Amell actually had some, had some martial arts training.
Yeah, and that thing with the bar where he jumps with the bar a level higher and then a level higher.
Yeah, that they constantly show you.
Because he can actually do them.
Big friggin' whoop.
I think they showed once him just.
No, they showed it at least twice in the first season. At least twice. And they show it once more in the second season because Felicity tells him that she likes to watch him do that.
I saw it way more than twice in the first season. Like, he was always doing that. It just got annoying.
Something that I really don't like about the fight scenes, and I wish they could change it, because you said that you like seeing him use the bow as a hand-to-hand, as when he
uses almost like a bow staff or something at some point.
What they need to change is the sound design, because when they use that move, it sounds something like, and it should be like a little bit more like something like that.
You just knock something down to make your point.
It was actually a Green Arrow figurine, so.
It's something like this.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know, it sounds way too.
Yeah, we're like that. I just banged my desk. Okay.
Like Oliver.
Sound effects didn't. I wouldn't know what I don't know if that was an aluminum or metal bow that he was using. I don't know what that would sound like if it was being banged against a dude's face. So I can't really comment on the sound design.
What?
Nothing.
Yeah, the sound effects didn't really stand out. I thought they did their job. I thought the music was good.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the music is very Danny Elfman without being Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
sometimes they use this typical soundtrack for first show on CW. Yeah, one of those pop songs.
Oh, just to let you both know, we've got about 10 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
I'll say there's one character that stands up from the first season. That's Firefly.
What? Really?
Well, it's just the way No, it's just that, like, it's the way they use him. I really did.
Yeah.
Him, him being like this pyromaniac, or well, not pyromaniac. He's got a reason why he's like that, and I really like they show that he's like
Well, they didn't. They don't call him Firefly. They just refer to him as Garfield Lynns, but he has a Firefly tattoo, so that's obvious little fan service. The way he looked, he reminded me a lot of that evil miner from that movie My Bloody Valentine. I mean, not the God damn it, not the remake, but like the 1983 movie.
Oh, like when he had the mask on, when he showed the
like when he had the mask on.
Yeah.
And he was holding like a pickaxe and was throwing it at people.
Oh, there's another thing. Okay, fireman's equipment. I just saw this. Fireman's equipment are heavy. How do you run so far?
He's a firefighter.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, he's trained to run fast with heavy ass equipment.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. That was. But no, I like the moment where like Oliver saw him and he realized he had this moment of realization that it's over for him. So Garfield burned himself.
Yeah. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but he is a Batman villain.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
They used.
They used the Royal Flush Gang, and those are Batman villains, right?
They're more like I'd say they're more like Justice League villains, maybe. Yeah.
Who else is a Batman villain? Wasn't Dodger a Batman villain?
Dodger.
The episode where the guy from Battlestar Galactica, he was putting he put this collar that explodes.
No, that was an original character.
No, I think that's it from the comics. A character called the Dodger. I heard that in a podcast.
You may be right, but regardless, I actually thought that was a pretty cool villain. I thought the guy in the subway cars was also a pretty cool villain. Those were both like really intimidating villains. And what was that one black guy who fought Ollie in the mansion? What did he do exactly? I can't remember.
The guy from Angel.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh,
what did he do?
He was like a hitman for hire or something.
Yeah,
and he was a damn good hitman too. That guy was
he was trying to kill the kid.
Yeah.
See him?
Yeah, the kid that was staying. Yeah, the kid that was staying with Tommy and Laurel. Yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah, that guy was.
Oh, you know what? That was a good episode because I love the moment where Tommy told the kid about the day he found out his mom died. That was really good. I really like the actor. That was a great performance for him.
Yeah, that guy was really scary. And you really hated. And you hated his ass too. It felt good when Ollie just murdered him at the end.
Yeah, it did. Although I was thinking that he'll come back, but yeah, I thought he's dead. J. Austin Richards.
Well, that was the actor's name.
None.
And he was also on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Oh, was he now?
Yeah, he was at least in the first episode, which is the only episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've ever seen.
No, he came back. His character came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. whatsoever.
Yeah. But I really like the Hitman. He was so scary.
Yeah.
Really.
That's what I mean. I think the original characters that they came up with, I really doubt that Dodger guy is from the comics, but I read it on Wikipedia, and I didn't see that, but again, I may be wrong. But regardless, I think there were more really good villains than bad ones that they came up with. They were just sort of the villains of the week, but I think there were definitely a few that stuck out that were really memorable. Okay, we're getting a little close to the end. Uh, trying to remember. Let me look here. Maybe, I think this might be the point where I cut the video off. Do any of you have anything else to add?
Just that I think it was very interesting how they chose to end the first season with Oliver kind of failing and kind of half failing in the sense that the glaze did blow up, more or less, imploded or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they were very brave to do that, and especially they were very brave to kill off Tommy, which at that point had gotten to be a pretty popular character.
Yeah, see, I really love the idea that although I don't think that other part of the town being destroyed was a consequence of him, but I like the fact that he's...
Hey, are we gonna wrap up? Because I gotta have my mom with something.
Yeah. You can go ahead and leave, Ed, if you want. Yeah.
No, if you have a few more thoughts about Arrow.
Yeah, okay. I liked that he didn't really win in the end, which in a way he kind of paid for his selfish motivations and actions throughout the first season. Whereas, like I said, in the second season, his motives are very selfless, and he's just trying to help people and not follow people on a list anymore. So yeah, that's what I really like. They're sort of they're having him go from a vigilante to a superhero, which, you know, like I said, is really awesome. And I can't wait to see more of the second season. I hope the show lives up to its potential.
Oh, it will. It will.
Ed.
Yeah. Yes.
Have you anything else to add?
For Arrow, I mean, it was so surprising.
You got 3 minutes.
What?
You got 3 minutes.
Okay. I just say that I can't believe I like this show. I mean, I'm not an Arrow fan. I'm not a fan of. Let me just return that. I'm not much familiar or that much of. I'm not like a diehard Oliver Queen fan. I respect the Green Arrow. I really like him in the appearance he was in. I see him in. It's just like, wow, I really like this show. Like, I hardly watch TV, and this is by far my favorite shows on television right now. And I cannot wait when we talk about season 2.
Mm-hmm.
The entirety of season 2, because it just, it's been phenomenal.
I'm sure it is. Well, folks, this is where I end my video. A couple little bitty announcements here to make. I have not forgotten about my Supervillains Explored X-Men Marathon. I will continue that at some point. But for now, I will be releasing a new B-Movie Theater very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. I hope you all have a good one. And yeah, just keep watching my videos. I'm back. I will make more. Later.